We're all here. We promised we would be here, and we're here. We're gonna talk all about marketing, but before we do anything crazy like that, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Pip. Um, Rena, maybe that's Rena. Uh, that's Greg. It's that way. I know. I got problems with the camera and the angles, and that's Phelan. We're all digital marketers, and I'm gonna put this on Greg right now. Greg, why don't you start the meeting?
Oh, start the meeting. Yeah,
Yeah,
put
yeah,
me on the spot, eh?
yeah. Well,
Well,
you
Yeah.
you know stuff,
I
right?
this is our monthly marketing roundup, or what do we officially call this? I know we call it marketing roundup, but
Well, this week I called it monthly marketing update, but it's usually
monthly
marketing.
marketing update.
It's
Yeah.
usually Greg.
Anyways, from our last roundup, I don't remember if I mentioned this. I probably did on a previous live talk a little bit about what's coming up with WordPress, but as of 2 days ago, WordPress 5.8 was actually released out in the wild for everybody to update and crash their websites. That's not true. It's a big release. I do suggest everybody, if possible, test the update on some type of dev or staging site just to confirm that everything will work with the update, because it is a major release. It's their first implementation of full site editing, which I've talked about in the past, and there are big changes in a lot of parts of the software. So be cautious. I tend to always wait until the next update. So right now it's 5.8. I typically wait till it's 5.8.1. Everybody else who just willy-nilly installs it and has problems on their site, I can avoid that, as those people identify small glitches and things which they patch. So if you can hold off, I would even hold off until that point one release if you can.
Right? So basically, do nothing.
Yeah, test. No, not don't do nothing. If you can, test it. If you really want to do it, try it in a development or staging environment first.
How
Also, we've talked about this in the past. Like, make sure you have backups of your site and things like that, just in case.
and make sure someone on your team does that, and you don't all forget.
Make
Just
sure you have a web guy like me to
right,
call.
right. So, how many do you know? How many business owners update their plugins? Do you think for themselves and do backups? And yeah, do you see
I
that
think
happen?
a lot of people don't have someone maintaining their site software for them.
Mm.
And whatever percentage that is, I bet a large chunk of them don't even update the software. And a lot of them probably also do their own updates, because doing an update in WordPress is super easy. You click a button, update now, done,
Well,
right?
it can
The
break.
problem the problem, no, what I'm saying is doing the update is not difficult. It's literally like update now, it updates. The problem becomes if something happens, you might crash your site, you'll have to roll back. That's when you want to make sure that someone is, on speed dial to
That's the panic
say,
phone call.
get my site back.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Phelan, I forgot to put the where you work. I don't know where you work. It doesn't say in the.
I'm more like a Ronin. I just sort of travel wherever I'm needed.
Right.
Um,
Um, um, so that's interesting. So basically, be aware, but don't do much for the WordPress. There was something else in WordPress too, right, Greg? There was
the WooCommerce.
yeah. What's that about? Tell us about that.
Yeah, WooCommerce, everybody knows it's the most popular e-commerce application for WordPress, and they about a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, released an update, a security update to patch vulnerability in the software that has actually existed since for quite a while in the plugin. And it was a major vulnerability, so they had to make sure everybody was aware, so everybody has a chance to update, because if someone found that exploit, they could really do some damage on their site. So they sent an email to anybody who's ever given them an email address, telling them that about this critical vulnerability and to update right away.
Interesting, eh? Phelan came across a company once when he worked at this other company that, they ended up getting their site broken into, and it was an e-commerce site, and they changed their banking information. So the owners didn't notice, and it was going into someone else's account.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good for business.
No, that's definitely not good for business.
Right.
I also,
especially if you're looking, you're like, oh, I got another order. It was approved. Ship it off. Perfect. You just assume money's transferring properly.
You're working.
Well, and they say like, oh, you're getting paid out this much money because you're going to get the notification, but the money's not going to be in the bank account because it's technically they did send it. It's just to the wrong account.
That would be awful. It'd be awful. Well, this is why you do, you update with those updates. And this is why I think it's good to have those website people in your back pocket. They know stuff. You too. So, Phelan, are there any other website things? Because you're with Shopify mostly, right? Arena?
I've got a website thing.
Okay.
But Phelan, you go first.
Okay. So there was a big announcement. The Shopify Unite happened about a week or so ago, and it was a big announcement for a lot of things for marketers and developers on their platform, there's a bunch of really good things that they're opening up. So they're making it easier to...
What is it?
Shopify Unite is their partners. It's kind of, I'd say, analogous to like Google I/O or the Facebook F8 is kind of what I would describe it as. And this one had a lot of, so there a lot of big developments for people with stores where they're opening up a lot of plus features to all levels, which is really nice. So you can do Google Tag Manager the whole way through the checkout process, which you couldn't. Yeah, that's a big one that was on Plus, but now it's open. They say they're opening it up to everyone. They're also opening up Shopify Scripts, which is kind of like Zapier for Shopify. It was one that they had internally that was for the Plus people. Now everyone apparently will be able to use it. And they're also opening up checkout. You can edit your checkout, which was again...
Wait, you're talking too fast. Why would you?
Because I have a lot of stuff to get through.
But there's stuff to dig into there. Why? What are Shopify scripts used for?
It's like Zapier. So you set up an if-then statement inside your Shopify store. When an order comes in, notify so-and-so. When an order comes in that has this, send it to this department. Or, you can have ones where if order is over X weight, send it to this carrier.
Damn, we're kind of... You're frozen a little. There you go. You're back. Cool. Okay. Keep going. Keep going. It sounds like there's a lot with the... I guess there's a lot because it was the Shopify Unite, the conference.
Yeah, and they announced a lot of... so they're also opening up, very similar to what Greg talked about with the all-website block editor. They're also doing that in Shopify. So that was a big announcement as well, is that you're going to be able to use the block editor on all pages, which is awesome because they desperately needed that. And then... what was the last big announcement that I wanted to make sure we mentioned? They are also getting rid of... they're also replacing Liquid with a new coding system called Hydrogen.
Okay, so what is Liquid?
Liquid is their markup.
Is Hydrogen? Liquid's going out. What's Hydrogen?
Yeah. Okay, what's Hydrogen? Yeah. There you go.
Hydrogen is it is using Tailwind's CSS, which is a stack for how to do CSS stylings really quickly, and it's the hot new thing right now. A lot of people love it. And it also uses a built-in React system to build the front end of the website. So it's going to be super fast and responsive. And it uses modern JavaScript frameworks.
Interesting. That's a
Yeah.
lot of Charlie Brown
Yeah.
teacher language.
Yes, it's one of those ones. Even when I heard the announcement and Tobe Lunke was like doing it, I was like, I understand the words that he's saying, but I don't process what he's actually coding.
Answer me this. So, because I mean, I'm not a web developer. However, I can go into Shopify in the back end and the code, and like I can look at the code, which is liquid, and be like, oh, okay, I can stuff something in there and get yelled at by people for doing such things. But I can kind of understand it. So are they all that language in the back is going to change to something else? Is that when
Great question. They have not been very clear about. I'm going to guess because Shopify is everything has to be backwards compatible. My guess is that they're going to have a separate API connection, and if you're using this new Hydrogen system, it's going to connect to it differently, but it's not going to break any of your existing websites.
That sounds like a lot of work for them to do. Why would they do that?
Basically, e-commerce needs to be super fast and super light, and React does that, whereas doing traditional markup using something like Liquid, where basically you have to speak to a server to get information, is slow. So basically what they're wanting to do is have it be light and fast, and also use all this new modern technology that they've developed, like React, and make it super light and fast, because in the last year, they have done a complete about face, and they are embracing headless CMSs, which is a conversation for another time.
Which is something that I am very interested in, not only learning how to do it, but in having it, just because it sounds cool.
And it is cool.
They should really say marketing should have a tagline saying "Keep up."
That's right.
Or can you keep up? Right?
Can you keep up?
Oh my God! It's we wait for the new platform to surface where we're all like, oh, we have to run over there, and can't keep up with the ones we have. We all know we're headed towards like the movie Total Recall and Minority Report, right? So we just have to keep up until they've got the programming where they say our names and it's a hologram, right? Until then.
Until then. Right on.
So there's Rena. Now I know you and I have been busy managing.
I got a bunch of stuff here though, actually.
Tell me.
Surprise. Okay, so I'll use the website segue. So Microsoft has a new tool called Clarify, and it does this neato thing. It measures rage clicks on your website.
Oh yeah, we were looking at that with the client yesterday.
Were you looking at that too? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So
did you say clarity? Rage clicks?
Yeah. So what is a rage click? It's when you go click, 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 because that's not working the way that you want it to work. So you tap it more than once. It's like when you're waiting for the light to change and you think that pushing that button 6 times is going to make it go faster somehow. So it measures your rage clicks. It measures not your rage clicks, but your viewers' rage clicks, which can be some pretty interesting information. So what that can tell you are a few different things, like, do you have a button that's not working? That would be really good to know, right? Do you have a button that's not working as expected? So sometimes buttons will say one thing and then it'll do another thing, and you need to figure out what are the people wanting to have happen when they hit that button. Is that thing actually happening, or did you make a mistake, right? Then the second thing is does it take a long time to load? So are they pushing it because they haven't noticed that up in the top left corner it's actually refreshing or taking you there, but it's not going fast enough? That could indicate not necessarily a problem with your website, but a problem with your server or something like that, or your website is too big, or it needs some slimming down. Your hosting is too slow, something like that. So that's what that can do. That can be some pretty cool data if you're interested in always tweaking your website and making sure that that the user experience is excellent. This is UX, measuring UX stuff.
Well, it's also CRO, because this is where we dig in.
Yeah. That's true.
When people don't convert, right? And you're getting lots of people from your ads.
Yeah,
you said
but
this was a Microsoft thing?
Yeah, it's a Microsoft tool.
Clarity.
It's called Clarity.
Clarity. Oh, did I? I wrote Clarify, but maybe it's Clarify website, but maybe it's not. Maybe it is Clarity. Maybe I wrote the wrong thing. It's possible. I'll double check that and put the link in the
So
comments
like
below.
part of Bing or like
Microsoft
It's
Tools.
like
it's like
software?
it's a bit of JavaScript that you put on your site and it works. It's a heat mapping tool, so it's like Hotjar,
So do you
but
put
it's
it
a
on,
little bit better.
do you put it on your site through Tag Manager?
You
I don't
can.
know. I've looked at what it does. I have not looked at how to install it yet, but that's
Yeah,
next on my
Phelan
list.
They have
installed
lots
it.
of that we put it through Tag Manager. You just have one of
Okay,
the
cool.
custom HTML tags, and it's super easy. Or just put it in the head code of your website, and that it's on every page. And either way, it's fine. They have lots of really clear instructions. Actually, they're pretty good about that.
It
Right
was
on.
really neat. We looked at it for a client because they weren't converting,
Yeah.
and they were trying to figure out if the cost of their product was too high. And
Yeah.
so we got to it was really fun because we got to dig into the analytics, and then Phelan put Clarity on, and we're seeing where
Yeah.
people are going because there's video of the little, like, what people are doing with their mouse. So cool.
Right on. That's so helpful.
My
So
That
one
being said,
question
it's
about this would be how soon does Google have some version of this so that you don't have to go to Microsoft to get this information?
probably soon. Probably
Uh,
soon.
my guess is much like the Slack being purchased by Salesforce. I'm going to guess Hotjar is probably going to get bought by Google.
That's
You're probably going to see an announcement in probably 6 months because these things
Yeah.
take probably
Yeah.
a good 6 months
Yeah.
to do, and they're probably
Yeah.
looking at because they have Google Optimize, which does the A/B testing. Why wouldn't they have the heat mapping and then just bring it?
and they're
Take them
asking a
over.
survey about that in your email this week. I got a survey,
Yeah.
which I did not
Right.
fill out. Just to if anybody out there is listening and they're sending surveys, try to make them short.
Yeah.
Right? What else is
Okay,
going
so
on, Rena?
segueing with the theme of rage, I'm going to hit my rage button, and that is Amazon. You know how I feel about Amazon. And if you don't know how I feel about Amazon, you can probably guess by just me saying that. And so therefore, Apple there was a cool little app that you could get from Apple called Fake Spot. And what it does is it actually removes all of the fake reviews from Amazon reviews so that you can see, because there's a lot of bogus reviews on Amazon. There's so many ways to game the system on Amazon. That's why I never really pay attention to anyone that's a bestseller author on Amazon. It means nothing.
Because there's
Means
strategy
nothing.
to do it.
Yeah, it means nothing. And also the other thing is that there's this other thing that I've heard going on where Amazon sellers will send somebody product. They'll set up an account. They'll send some random person some product just so that they can fill in a review on that account, and it looks like a legitimate review, but it's not. And so people all over North America are getting free product from suppliers that they don't order, they don't know anything about. And so that's another way of gaming it. So Amazon has forced Apple to remove that app. They claim that 80% of the reviews that were being marked fake are not fake. So I don't know how to feel about that, but I'm annoyed.
It'd be really interesting how they prove that, because Phelan and I can attest to somebody asking us to leave them a review on Amazon, and they were going to give us product, and it was in an industry that is just so easy to get into, and anybody can resell, like, vitamins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was supplements, and it was like already a shady industry, and they're willing to pay top dollar to give you cash and product so that you will review
so
it.
that they can get higher, right? Because that's probably a ranking factor. And that we did not do it. It was interesting to learn that people would do it, and I mean, people are going to game the system, right?
Totally. Totally. So FakeSpot, I was really excited about that app for a brief 10 minutes. And we'll see if it ends up coming back in some other fashion or form, or if they're able to negotiate some kind of compromise. I'm not really sure. And then we can go back into apps that I find really interesting. This is my next segue. I'm all about the segues today. I don't know why. But an old app that I haven't used since I think I switched in 2010, TweetDeck. TweetDeck is coming up with a whole new design on its free tool. I haven't gone in and checked out to see what it looks like, but apparently it's quite slick. And I'm looking forward to that because the Hootsuite free app or cheap app is really bugging me these days. It's not very visually interesting or easy. And I found that their changes, what bugs me in apps, and it's happened on FreshBooks, it's happened on Hootsuite, it's happened on a few others, where they're a nice, really sort of lean app at the beginning, where it doesn't take very much time to perform the function that you want to perform, but then they make it all like fancy and pretty and all this stuff, and then the next thing you know, you're opening up 5 different windows to get the same amount of thing in, and now the 10-second task is turned into a minute task. And when you have to do something over and over again, that time adds up and it's irritating to no end. So that's my rant, and we're back to rage.
Who doesn't love doing their books and everything else that goes along with running a business when they're really just into the service they provide?
That's right.
Right. Oh, it's hard. It's hard, but fun because we can take time off whenever we want. You know? Right? Who's taking time off?
I might be off this afternoon.
Right.
Yeah, I'm wanting to take time off when I'm 75.
So, right, this is the thing, Greg. So Greg is probably the best one out of the bunch because you schedule time, right, Greg? You schedule an off. Like I turned my computer off.
Well, like consistently, I have work hours, and I stick to those work hours unless I really have projects that I need to get completed. I'm pretty much 8:30 to 4:30. I typically will sit in front of my desk till 5. But outside of those hours, my computer's off, and I tend not to do anything unless I absolutely have to get something out the door.
Yeah. So we all could learn a thing or two from one another. Now, Rena, do you have any more? Because I got a couple.
Nope, go for it. It's all yours.
Okay, I don't know if you guys have checked it out, and I did not mention this, and it just came to my mind, and I can't believe I almost forgot it. Search Console. If you go in there now, you're going to see a yellow highlighted bar across the top, and you're going to click on it, and if it says like something like your stuff isn't connected and so you're getting subpar information, yeah, that could be happening, but most likely you click on it and you're going to get all this new information. They're trying to make, so Search Console used to be called Webmaster Tools, and it's called Google Search Console now, and the reason for the name change is because they wanted business owners to use it. So this is making it easier for business owners. You can see like newest content ranking. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's really awesome to walk your clients through it because you can actually, it'll show you where your traffic's coming from. If it's coming from Instagram or Facebook or I didn't see any Twitter things, but it's a pretty cool way, and it's a great way to, when you have a meeting with your client, to go, hey, there's this new thing, you can visit this anytime, so they can then get a snapshot, an educated view, and they can come to you later, and you guys can dig deeper into the strategy and all the things that are happening. But it's like the bite-sized pieces from Google Analytics, that we get when Google launched their intelligence thing. I don't know if they still have that. I don't use it much anymore, but so that is I think the biggest thing. Phelan, are there any Google Ads things? There's some SEO updates, so hold your hat until the end of the month, right?
Yeah, basically, whatever you think your rankings are, just take a mulligan on them until August is pretty much the advice of most SEOs right now, just because there are something like 4 major algorithm updates that occurred in the last 2 months. So that are all happening at fits and starts, and basically, yeah, it's going to be a mess for a lot of people. Most people aren't going to be affected too much. based on what everyone was saying. But there are going to be some outliers, and just don't panic until August. Pretty much is the advice that most
Right.
people I've
Just
heard
sit
say.
back and
Well,
watch.
August is almost here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting to look because in Search Console, I think Search Console is one of the best places to look, or the year over year in Google Analytics in the acquisition tab over year.
Yeah.
I think those are the fun places to look right now. But yeah, other than that, we have some. Rena and I were trying to go to the TikTok conference. Neither of us made it because we work too much. But I think, Rena, have you seen the replay, or is there a replay, or is there somewhere we can go?
I don't know. I can't actually speak to that yet. I am hoping so. I did register for the conference, so if there is a replay, then generally they'll send it to the people, to all the registrants. So hopefully, fingers crossed. But I haven't seen anything in my inbox yet.
Right. And with Google Ads, I mean, it's just pure hell. So, but that's just all the changes a couple months ago, and trying to figure out different strategies in there now. Was there anything for Google My Business failing? Is that it? That's it.
Yeah, there wasn't too much. Oh, there was one other thing that came across the wire yesterday, which was that Twitter, going back to Twitter,
Sorry.
breaking news, Twitter is going to allow for voting on tweets. You'll be able to upvote or downvote tweets, which I'm sure will not, will definitely help the platform, will not have any issues as they're trying to get more user base back on their system. I'm sure it won't. That will definitely help people.
That'll totally work.
Huh.
The
Interesting.
knowledge panel. So the knowledge panel is a lot like the Google My Business knowledge panel, but it's there's a difference between a knowledge panel and a knowledge graph. Anyway, for businesses, not like for top businesses or influencers or bands, let's say, that type of business, right? People who aren't a person, but anyway, they used to, I didn't know this, they used to be able to do posts like you would do in Google My Business, but for those bigger businesses that have this weird thing that's just like a knowledge panel, they're taking that away. So I didn't want to talk about that because I thought that might confuse people, so I tried to keep it pretty separate. It's yeah, so it'd be like somebody like, say, Gwyneth Paltrow would have been able to make posts in what looks like a Google My Business, but it wouldn't have been one because if you're so big, or like Coca-Cola, right? Things like that. And they're no longer allowed to do that. So, and I really think the posting on Google My Business is not considered a ranking factor, but I think it can help you, right? Because when you do a post, you can link to your blog post. It's a very smart decision to do that.
For your organic business listing,
Yeah.
I'm sure it does make a difference. Yeah.
It totally does, because when I went from one client, when I went from only posting on Facebook and Instagram to including Google My Business, the organic traffic went up like 25%.
Interesting, because they say it's not a ranking factor, specifically say, but we all know that even if things aren't a ranking factor, they can affect your ranking.
Yeah. And you get notifications from Google My Business that tells you how many times people clicked on your link from Google My Business. So I suspect that that's increasing those link clicks.
Yeah, it's interesting. I really think there's Google My Business is, I mean, how old is it? Not more than 5 years old.
I don't know.
Right? And it has taken over like a local SEO. 70% of searches are local searches. Mm-hmm. So 70% of the time we're seeing a Google My Business show up, or like, and it's all over the maps. It's there's some new cool strategies, and I don't think people are selling SEO enough.
No. And those posts actually occupy a really nice chunk of space on Google search. You know what I mean? Like, your blog post is getting featured on your first page results when you make those posts. So it's actually quite. I like it. I'm really digging it, actually.
Yeah, me too. We got told we changed somebody's business by doing an actual strategy using Google My Business, and it was super fun.
Yeah,
you gotta like when your job's fun, right, guys? We all remember that, right? Yeah.
What's that?
Phelan was telling me he wanted to quit his day job. I got all confused and concerned. You know?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the who was saying what in that conversation is actually reversed. And I think that was like first thing this morning. You're just, I want to quit my job, and it's
I
like,
don't know. My boss.
Well, they say that most people want to quit their job because they want to quit their boss. I totally get that.
Your boss
get
is
that.
mean. Yeah, right. It's hard. You know, I think Greg, you had a whole company where you actually were the boss, and people went to an office, right? That sounds. I think that would have been really tough. The going to the
Everybody
office.
wanted to get away from me.
Yeah. You know, that's very different from what it is now, because we all love you and want to spend time with you all the time.
I was the best boss. Very lenient.
My mom thought that too. She wasn't. But I bet you were. And on that note, we all have to go to work. It's Thursday. Who's doing social media? I think that's Rena. Greg's gonna do websites. We're gonna go teach. So if you joined us and you have any questions about anything we spoke about, just drop them in the comments, and we will see you guys next month. We'll be more excited next month because we'll have some rest. Okay.